out of all the different filmmakers making films today, I say that Phil Lord and Chris Miller have a very interesting reception, to put it nicely. On one hand, have they respond on both being the directors, actors, or producers of some of the best as modern films we've got up recently, like the Lego movie, despite either as films and the Mitchells as Sister Machines. On the other hand, however, that the two of them have a controversial way of making their films, that I was clearly noted when many animators talked about their experience of working on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But, uh, of course, it also not many people hate these directors, these filmmakers, as they still like the movies that they made. Hey, and I know there was still quite a lot of anticipation for their next major motion picture, Project Hail Mary, based on the book by Andy Weir. And I've got to be honest, I've never read the book that this film was based on. I didn't really hear about the book until I heard about the movie. The most I do know is that this author has had another one of his sci-fi books adapted into a movie with The Martian, which I watched before this, and I thought that one was pretty good. Nothing spectacular, but it was still a pretty good, solid movie. We got all of this. But even though I wasn't familiar with the source material, I was really excited to check this one out, especially when the film was getting incredible praise from critics and audiences. Luckily it was my 19th birthday yesterday, so me and my mum decided to check it out for them, and we both really liked the film. I want to go and say that this is the modern sci-fi masterpiece that everyone is saying this film is, but that doesn't change the fact that I thought or that this was a fantastic movie. I'll start with the visuals because they are my biggest highlight. Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen a movie take place in space that looks so beautiful since probably the Guardians of the Galaxy films. The movie looks stunning in every movement from on the ship of the Hail Mary itself, out to the different planet, and it's to the way they portray it. And all the time, I'm sure Grace has to leave his ship if fly through space with a lack of gravity. Those moments easily got me the most invested with the feature. I also thought the story was really interesting. The film definitely had a solid beginning, explaining doing a good job to explain the setup up and what Iroid and Grace was needed for this mission. But the film gets really good once Grace Ace meets Rocky. These two are easily the best thing about this feature. Sure. Both of them are very interesting characters on their own. But Grace Ace is a scientist that got on each on his mission, and is now out trying to remember everything he has to do to save the Earth because Einstein. He's the key. He is the cute and enjoyable little rocks by the side. That also has his own small arts and talent. intelligence. And when these two get together, the film becomes almost incredible. Or their relationship is easily the heart of each other, to where I was really hoping that both of them would get out of this situation. Okay, because I have grown to care so much about both of these characters. Because another thing I really like about this film is the actors. Because even though finished some of them had minor roles, all the minor characters that we saw on Earth did have some great performances. But man, this is probably Ryan Gosling's best performances. His performance as Grace was incredible, as he brought this character to life in the best way possible. But and I also like how he was able to show Ace's strong emotional side. That's just even Grace has to say goodbye to the crew who make Ace that died on the journey up to space. And man, I've known them for the same amount of time as great Ace has, which is not much at all. But I did get emotional in that scene when watching it in the cinema. But it was definitely a powerful an emotional moment throughout. So yeah, I definitely had a great time with this movie. And my mum did too. However, when we walked out the feature, we both agreed on the same problem that this movie had. It was way too long. I'm not gonna say the run was a huge detriment. And I did like everything that was being shown to me. It's just the film kept dragging it on and on to the point where even though I was liking everything I was seeing, I was getting ready for the film to wrap up. This is especially noticeable with how the film does come back to Earth at some scene. Instead shows Grace's life before his mission would begin. I'm not gonna lie, as cool as these scenes are to show how Grace ended up on this mission in the first place, they really hold the movie back in certain scenes, and I did not find myself being that invested with those scenes, and I was more intrigued to get back to the main mission with Ace and Rocky. Okay, still though, that's a pretty team up on a complaint, and that doesn't change the fact that I thought Project Hail Mary was a fantastic feature. While it does feel a bit long in certain scenarios, it more than makes up for it with a highly interesting and engaging story, incredible visual effects, likable and charming characters, some strong acting throughout, as well as an incredible the relationship with Grace and Rocky. Okay, I would highly recommend this to fans of sci-fi films, as they'll be the ones that will get a most also of the feature. I definitely do debate calling it the modern sci-fi masterpiece that everyone has been calling it. But that doesn't change the fact that I still had a fantastic time with Grace and Rocky's venture, and that's why I'm giving this film a very high 9 out of 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!